Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects. Of course, this is a visual effects channel, guys. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you dig that video intro, you guys know what to do. Please like and subscribe, as it always helps me to continue to create more video contents like this for you guys, okay? For those of you who are visual effects artists, you already know how to do this, but this video was specifically designed to understand the cameras in After Effects, okay? It was also requested by YouTubers for me to do this, so here it is for the YouTubers who requested this video, okay? There's a folder that you guys need to download. It's beneath the description tab. It has the assets that you need to follow along. Plus, I want to be able to do this full time, guys. Right now, I'm just doing different things to pay the bills. But if I could do this full time because of you empowering me to do this, there's a link to my Patreon channel too. $1 a month, be a patron. That would help a lot. So I can do this every single day instead of just once a week, or maybe sometimes taking longer because I'm doing other things to pay the bills. Okay. All right, let's go and minimize this really quick and let's get right into the tutorial, guys. And so what we need to do is create a new composition. So go to composition, new composition, and just call that cameras. 4K for me or 1080p for you guys, 24 frames to make sure we keep it at the film style. Once we are here, I want you guys to bring a texture that is from your folder, and your folder should look something like this. YouTube tutorial 31 folder, double click on that, and you have your OBJ and textures. The texture is right here, okay? So when you import it, just go to file, import file, and then go to your tutorial folder and double click on that, and boom, there it is right here. Click import and you're done. Once it's here, I want you guys to bring this down to our composition here, and then go to effects and presets, type in sphere, and then CC sphere will pop up. Just grab it and just drop it into our solid just like this, okay? Once you are here, now we need to make this solid into a 3D solid. So the way to do this is to just click on this icon here. So click on this icon and you're here. The next step is to create a camera for it so we can move the solid in 3D world, okay? So click layer, new, camera, and leave it as is and put it at 15 millimeters for now, okay? And then just click OK. Once you have that, I want you guys to go to the views here, click on that, do 2 views, okay? And then zoom out with your mouse and just keep it like this, okay? And so right now, this takes care of part 1 of the setup. Alright everybody, once we are here, let's really get into the camera lenses and understand it a little bit better before we move into the camera settings. So in order to do that, I grabbed a picture from Google, which I thought was super cool because that totally explains to you guys what you need to understand when it comes to lenses. I'm gonna drop it down here and I'm just gonna focus on it, okay? So this right here totally explains everything you need to understand when it comes to lenses, all right? Because we're not delving into photography and videography. We just want to understand camera lenses so we can use that understanding into the cameras in After Effects, okay? So here's the body of the camera and here's the lens, all right? In After Effects, you can change these lenses as you see fit, and they do go from 15 millimeters all the way to 200 millimeters, all right? And so this is called the focal point, all right? And so you have 16 millimeters all the way to 200 millimeters. The higher your focal point, the further you can see out into the distance. However, the smaller your field of view will become, okay? And so these lenses here, 200 millimeters and over, are usually utilized in wildlife photography or videography, or sports photography and videography, okay? And so now that we understand this concept, as we go in sizes, you get a higher field of view, but then you can't see as far as you would with a higher focal point lens. Okay, 24 millimeters, same thing, wider field of view, but can't see as far. And of course, you have your fish eye, you can see super wide, but you cannot see far. Okay, so an example of the fish eye would be your GoPro cameras, totally fish eye look. All right, and then you have different lenses with different focal points, all in between from 16 millimeters all the way through 200 millimeters and above. Okay, hopefully this right here makes sense to you guys. Remember, we're not trying to understand photographers and videographers, we just want to understand this concept and use this concept for After Effects cameras. All right, I'm going to unclick this and I'm going to zoom out of there, and I'm going to click my middle mouse button and I'm going to move this over here like that. Okay, now click back on your camera, go to layer, go camera settings. Once you are here, let's understand what we're looking at right now. One node camera versus two node camera. Let's click on two node camera, and I want you guys to pay attention to what happens here. Okay, two node camera, boom, our point of interest shifted from here to here. In the world of 3D, you want to use two node cameras because you want to be able to rotate around your 3D models. Okay, so let's click OK and see what that does. Click the back of them, click back on camera, click at the back of the camera, and then just move your camera around. And as you can see, we're moving around that point of interest, right? So that's super important for the 3D world. So I'm going to undo everything, and then now I'm going to go back to my camera settings. I'm going to click one node camera. Now our point of interest has shifted down here, so let's click OK and see what it does. Click the back of the camera, and as you can see, it's totally different, right? Okay, now you know exactly what both of these do. So let's go back to camera settings. Name, self-explanatory, name your cameras whatever you want. Presets are your different type of lenses, and they're called focal length right here. Okay, so you have 15 millimeters all the way through 200 millimeters, just like the picture I was showing you guys. Okay, so when you click on a different one, this is going to be the same number as whatever you're clicking. Okay, boom, right there. So it's just telling you the same thing right here. Okay, now this is the film size of your body camera here. Okay, these are the lenses right here, and this body camera is its own. It's shooting at 36 millimeters / 35 millimeters, which is film style. Okay, and if you make sure to keep it at 24 frames per second, you totally have film style. All right, this is your angle of view. Remember what I was talking about earlier. The higher your focal length, the wider your angle of view is. Okay, and as you can see, it's changed right here too. Here is the depth of field, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so this is pretty much what you need to understand when you're looking at this camera setting right here. Okay, so let's go to 15 millimeters and see what it does when we do all of that. Okay, so I'm just gonna click OK, and now we're back at 15 millimeters, and I'm gonna go back to camera settings, and I'm just gonna roll through these so you guys can see exactly what happens here and here. Okay, so we're at 15 millimeters. Now we're gonna go to 20 millimeters, 24, 28, 35, 50, 80, 135, and 200. And as you guys can see too, here's your 200 millimeters. Okay, it could see way out there. So if you have a scene that requires everything to be here, but you want to showcase a whole bunch of stuff down here, that's how you do it with this camera right here. Okay, and so if I Z it out, I could have a whole bunch of 3D stuff right here, but what I really want to do is just get down to the planet. So by the time I get to the planet, I would have seen a whole bunch of other stuff here. We're still seeing the planet in the distance. Okay, hopefully this makes sense for you guys, and that was a very quick explanation of the camera settings. Okay guys, so now let's talk about depth of field. All right, very simple. So I'm gonna click back on this icon here. I'm gonna go to my views here. I'm gonna make that 2 views right away. Okay, I'm gonna go down here, and as you guys can see, I changed it to planet 1. So how did I do that? Just click enter and type in planet 1. Now click on that, do Control D, and that's going to create a new planet called planet 2. Okay, in this view right here, first you have the opportunity to see from the top and all different angles too. How do we do that? Make sure you click right here and then click on this icon here, and boom, there it is right here. You have totally different views that you can look from. Okay, front, left. Now we're at the top. You can go back and right and bottom. Okay, totally up to you guys. Okay, also, you know, again, you have many different views that you can look through this too, and I'll allow you guys to just play with that for now because our main focus is just cameras. Okay, so once we are here, let's click on our planet 2. Let's zoom in really quick, and we have a Z, X, Y. So we're gonna push the second planet on the Z axis. Once you are here, I want you guys to go to the X axis and throw that to the right like this. If we zoom out, it looks like this. And we know for a fact that the planets are in distances. Okay, and that fact here will help us create our depth of field. Okay, once we're here, click on camera and click here to see everything, and your camera will probably look like this. So just go to camera options and unclick this, and at the depth of field section here, I want you guys to just turn it on. Once it's on, we have to decide where we want our focal distance to be. Okay, so play with it so you can see it here. Now focal distance is coming to us, or go all the way out there like this. Okay, so if you want to see the back, the planet in the back, that's how you do it. You go like this. If you want to see just this planet, you go like that. If you want to see anything between, you go just like this. Okay, so that's why it's so important to see it from the top right now. But we just want to see our front planet, so we're just going to keep it like this. Nothing is happening here. Why? Because we need to make sure that our aperture is set properly to blur this back planet out. So let's go back to our first view. Let's zoom in really quick, and once we are here, watch what happens when I move my aperture up and down. There you go. I think you guys get the idea now, right? Okay, so if you want to get some good depth of field, about right there looks pretty good. Okay, and guys, this is exactly how you create depth of field using After Effects 3D cameras. Alright guys, now let's create a path that the camera is gonna fly us through here really quick. So again, super easy to do. Go to two views, and we're gonna use the top view to direct our camera. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep the depth of field where it's at so we can see everything. All right, so we're gonna have the camera move forward, and then all of a sudden it's gonna pivot to this planet right here. So it's all about playing with the camera and deciding where it should go at first. All right, so we're gonna start at 0 here, and I want you guys to click these two here. We're gonna put some keyframes for the point of interest and the position, and let's just say at about 5 seconds we're going to, well, you know, at about 2.5, we're simply going to have our camera move forward like this, right? Just about right there. And it's okay if we can't see anything yet. And from this, and about 2.5 to 5 seconds, we're going to click our point of interest, and we're going to shift it over here like this. Okay, just like that. Pretty cool, right? And then we're also gonna have our camera move toward that planet. Okay, so let's simply see what it does. Okay, but for the sake of seeing it properly, let's go ahead and shut off our depth of field. So here we go. We are going toward that planet right now, and then right here we're shifting over to this planet. Okay, all right, now here's a cool trick that I learned a while back. On that second planet, I want you guys to right click on that. I want you guys to go to transform. I I want you guys to click auto orient, and I want you guys to go to orient towards camera. Now watch what it does this time. We're gonna go to this planet and boom, you see, now that is looking at the camera no matter where we go. So it continues to give you that perfect spherical look of the solid. Cool, right? Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so once we have that, what we're gonna do is add back the depth of field and make sure that it's working properly. So let's put a keyframe for that. Oh, not for the depth of field, but for the focus distance. And from here to here, as you guys can see, we can't see anything anymore, right? And so what you want to do is you want to simply take that down so that you can see it. So we'll have to take this all the way back down. Okay, so now as you guys can see, we can begin to see the planet. So right here we have depth of field for the back planet, but we see this planet pretty well. Okay, so click the mouse button to move that sideways like this, and as we move forward we still see the planet very well. And then once we are here, it's gonna shift, and as it shifts, what we want to do is now have the focus on this planet. So how do we achieve that? So from here to here, we're simply giving that planet back its focus. And as we get closer, we can totally move that back so that we can see it. All right, so click on this button right here to zoom right into what we're doing. So from here, that's the first planet. We passed the first planet and it zooms out now in depth of field, and we are beginning to see this planet, and we are seeing it pretty well, and we're continuing to see it pretty well, and we totally see it super well, right? And that's pretty much how you can make sure your depth of field follow any movements that you are doing. Okay, and that also ensures that your movements are proper to your camera as well. All right, and so guys, this takes care of moving cameras in 3D world, understanding how the depth of field works in 3D world, and also learning this very cool trick of the solid by simply right clicking on the solid that is 3D, going to transform, going down to auto orient, and deciding if you wanted to orient along a path that you created, or if you want zero orientation, or if you wanted to orient toward the camera. And in this aspect, we wanted to toward the camera, because when we got close to it, we still wanted to see that perfect spherical shape. Okay, and that takes care of this section right here. Alright guys, we've learned a lot so far within 10 to 12 minutes. Now let's go and apply what we learned in a real 3D world with real 3D objects. So let's go ahead and create a new composition. Go to composition, new composition, and we're just gonna call that Element 3D, and 4K here and 24 frames. If you guys don't have Element 3D, you guys can still apply these concepts, the first part of these concepts, in just within After Effects. But if you guys have Element 3D, what you learn in that first part, it's superly going to help in the second part. Okay, click OK. Once we are here, let's simply go back to one view, zoom in really quick, well, not too much, and then create a new solid, and we're gonna call this solid cameras. And once you are here, go down to Effect, Video Copilot Element. Once you are here, click Scene Setup. It might take a few seconds. I just deleted all my cache, so I was gonna have to reload a few of the caches here. What I want you guys to import is the one that I already created for you guys. Okay, so go to your tutorial folder, go down to YouTube tutorial 31 folder, OBJ and textures, go down to rock and walls for tutorial. Once you click on that, hopefully it'll come up right away. All right, mine has loaded, and what I want to do right now, I want to click draft textures so I can see that it's highest resolutions, and that might take a few seconds as well. All right, so it finally was able to get to the right textures right here that I wanted. It took about a minute or two, but for you it might take a little bit longer depending how powerful your computer is, because it has to create that cache. So once we are here, these compositions, these 3D models came from Quixel, and so it's super awesome. Quixel Megascans, and these were free textures, and so all I did is just bunch them up to make it look like this. Once we have this right here, I just simply went to Video Copilot and used the starter pack physical. So right here I clicked on the chessboard, and once you bring the chessboard, it's gonna pop up like this. Click on this icon here to get right into it and simply move it up to where it fits properly. Okay, so I'm not gonna get technical, guys. I just want to quickly do this. So once we are here, it is great. What we want to do now is we are simply going to bring one of these pond in. All right, and to do that you have to click on this icon here, which takes you to each OBJs in this chess piece right here, and just click on any of them. Well, actually, not the back ones. You know what, let's just bring this one in like that. Okay, and once we know that this is the one we want and we want to put it right here, I want you guys to click on Alt and then click on the same one again. And what it does now, it's taking everything out except for that pawn, but we do need your chessboard too, and the chessboard is this one right here. Okay, there it is. That's all we need for now, because right now we're just gonna practice moving the cameras around this 3D OBJ right here. So click OK, and it might take a while to load it up in After Effects too, because no cache has been created in After Effects to have it being loaded extremely quick. So if it does take a while for you guys, just be patient. Okay, all right, so here we are right here right now with the loaded version. It took about 3 minutes for me to load it up, and now that the cache is created, this is great. Now what we need to do is create a camera again. So go to Layer, New, and Camera. I'm gonna keep mine at 35mm because I like that lens focal length right here. Click OK. Once you click OK, just click back on this icon here, which is our camera tool, and just do exactly what you were taught earlier. Zoom around, use the left mouse button, use the middle button to control things, use the zoom in, zoom out to make sure that everything looks good as it should. Okay, so once you're right here, again, let's go back down here, transform and reset everything, and let's zoom in into our scene here really quick. Let's go down to our view section, do 2 view horizontal, and making sure that our point of interest is exactly at the center. And so if we go back to 1 view, no matter what we do, if we zoom, we should be zooming around this character right here. Well, not this character per se, but the chessboard, because the chessboard is right in the center. Okay, now the only time you will go off your point of interest is if you use the middle mouse button. So let me show you really quick here. So I'm going to use the middle mouse button. Okay, so watch what happens. Okay, now we're moving our point of interest. So if I move my point of interest over here, guess what? When I zoom in, it's only going to zoom in around that point of interest. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So the only time you should ever do this is if you want to move from this section here to this section here. Okay, that would be the only time you want to do that, or if you want to see what's over here. But if you want to do that, then you have to create 2 cameras, which is exactly what I'm about to show you guys right now. So let's go and reset this really quick, and you should always have 1 camera that is the camera that you use to see everything you do. Okay, so we're going to click Control D, and we're going to click Enter and rename this camera Master Camera. And this camera here is the one that we're going to use every single time to see where things are, and we don't care if we're moving a point of interest, because we just want to make sure we can see exactly what we want to see so that we can create the shot that we want. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. All right, so let's go back to one view here and go ahead and begin to set up our scene for our movements. So click reset here, and there it is. Alright guys, the next step is to simply create some very cool motion tracking with our camera here, and we are also going to be adding some depth of field into our shots so that you guys can fully utilize the cameras in After Effects using a 3D environment with some real 3D OBJs. Let's get started. So first I'm going to click on my master camera here, click on my camera icon. I just want to make sure everything's working, so that's good, it's working. The shot we're going to create is, we're probably going to start from right here, and then we're going to zoom into about the pond right here, and then we'll probably do some 360 on that pond, and then we'll probably create a new camera and simply create some left and right motion. Okay, so that's why it's always important to have a master camera that helps you, create the shot that you want right away without messing up with the other cameras. All right, now that we are here, I'm going to undo my master camera. I'm going to go to my views and do 2 views, and I want to make sure I see everything from the top and make sure that my camera icon is clicked here. And I want to set my camera right here right now. I'm gonna go like this. There you go. Let's open our first camera here, and we want to create some keyframes on a point of interest and position, and let's say at about 2 seconds we go ahead and start moving in. There are 2 ways you can do this. You can go ahead and create your camera motions through this view here, or you guys can go ahead and do it from this view here. I'm going to do it from both so that it forces us to do it from both. Okay, so let's say we are at about here. Alright, that looks pretty good right there, but that's not what I want, because I want the shot to be higher. So how do we fix this? Easy. Let's go to this view here, and let's go down to this section here, and let's just go and click right. So now we're seeing from the right side. Okay, so let's quickly zoom into it, and all I want to do is I want to set my point of interest just a tiny bit higher. So that's all I'm going to do right here, like this. And as you can see on the right side, we have a pretty good view of what we are doing. Okay, so that's super important. All right, from there I think that looks pretty good. From here, let's just go and go to about 2.5 seconds, and let's just set some new keyframes, and we'll just have it pause there to do nothing. And from about 2 to, let's say, 3.5, we're gonna start doing some motion as well. We're gonna start going around the pond. Okay, but going around the pond, we're gonna be taking more seconds, because if you only take 1.5 seconds to go around the pond, first, it's not gonna work, and secondly, it would be really quick. Okay, so let's go back to the left side, and let's click top so we can see it from the top a little bit better. Okay, all right, so from right here, let's go and start some new keyframes. Actually, let's not do that. Let's undo that really quick, and let's go back to this right here, and let's actually start our motion here. So remember, what we want to do is we want to go right here. Okay, so again, back to the 2.5 here. Now I just went back here because I wanted, for me visually, it's so important for me to start at the right section here, because there's been so many times where I left my not my keyframes, but I left my cursor here and I started moving around and I totally messed everything up. So visually, I need to always start from the start and then look here to decide what I want to do within the time frame that I want. Okay, so now that I know what I want, then I can go back to 3.5 and then make that decision. So again, from the back of the camera, and all you guys gotta do is go like this. So we're gonna sort of create a square, but not a perfect square. It's gonna be circular square. Then from right here, again, from 3.5 to let's say 5, we're gonna go like this. There it is, and click here on your point of interest too. And then from 5 to 6.5, we're gonna go like this. and then again click here from 6.5 to 8. We're going to close the circle. There it is, just like that. Okay, all right, so once we are here, let's make sure we put a keyframe here. Let's just look at what we have. So we created a shot that goes in and it zooms right onto the pond and then pauses, and from here we just go around, do a 360 around the pond. Now, is a 360 perfect? It's not, but I'm going to show you how to make it as best as possibly to the point where you feel it's a pretty good circle around the pond. Okay, so the best way to do that would be, let's say we are back here, right? So we need to make sure that this is more circular right here, so just go halfway through your shot and then just add 2 more keyframes. From here you have the ability to adjust how you want it to look. Okay, so let's go and do that for all of them and then just adjust it as we go. There you go. And again, just adjust it as we go. And here we go. Like that. And then let's go to the end. And let's just adjust it like this. So, is it gonna be better? Well, it should be somewhat better, but it's not going to be perfect still, because it'll be up to you guys to make sure that you create that perfect circular motion around your pond. Okay, but this gives you a pretty good idea how to create smoothness in your camera transactions. Okay, all right, so this takes care of this area now. So what we want to do now is we want to create a new camera. Okay, so let's just go ahead and go layer, new, oh, not a light, that's not what I want. Layer, new camera, there it is, keep it at 35, and that would be camera 2 indeed. Now once it's here, let's go ahead and go back to our one view, click on our camera icon, and let's just zoom in into our scene so we can see where we are. And let's go ahead and create our second camera motion. So there it is. And I want it to be kind of like this, just like that. All right, now let's go back to our 2 view, and from here we can fix our camera a little bit better. There it is. Okay, so let's open this back up so we see exactly what we're doing. So from right here, let's just say that our camera will take over. So what that means is from right here we see this motion, and then as soon as we get here, boom, it takes over. The second camera takes over. And let's open this up too. I'll transform here. Let's set some new keyframes right here like this, and let's say from 8 to 10 seconds we're simply gonna have the camera move sideways. And for this, you don't go to the back of the camera, but you have to use the x-axis, okay, and then just drag that over, and boom, that looks pretty good, just like that. Okay, all right, so let's see what we have so far. So we are zooming in into the pond, just like that. Once we get here, we're doing some 360 motion. Sorry if there's a bit of delays here, but scrolling is unlike rendering where you just let it play. But we just want to see what we're doing here, so that looks pretty good. So far that looks pretty good. Alright, and we're still doing our full 360 on our pond here, and then very shortly it's gonna switch over to a new camera. Boom. And right here we are doing more camera motions. There it is, just like this. So let's say, what if you wanted to go up from right there? Very simple. Okay, so we quickly decide at perhaps maybe about 12 seconds from here to here, the camera is gonna go up. Totally okay. So you have two choices. You can use your middle mouse button, or you can use your left mouse button to do this. Okay, so it can go like this, right? Which means from right here, the camera simply goes up. Or you can decide to come from this side and you go to the right view and you control your camera that way too. Okay, so it's really up to you guys. And so if you zoom in here, it's not gonna take you far, but we might be able to go right through it. So what I always do is I just keep it as is and simply know that no matter where the camera is, it's looking at my pond here. Okay, and you just move the camera up and down as you see fit. Okay, so as you can see, this is the camera that it's working right now. There it is, just like that. All right, so you have two ways you guys can do this. Always remember, you guys can do it using this side, or you guys can do it using this side. You guys can move using the cameras, the back of the camera, the X, Y, or Z axes, or you guys can use the camera here to move your pond. Many ways to do this, but it's all a matter of wanting to decide which way you want to approach this. Okay, all right guys, this takes care of camera motions within After Effects, and the next step is depth of field. Okay guys, let's go and create some depth of field really quick. For this, let's just go ahead and go back to our one view really quick, and let's just take the whole entire scene to the start. Let's also click this icon here just to zoom out just a tiny bit so we can see this. We know for a fact from here to here we are going right there. Okay, so I'm quickly going to show you guys how to do the depth of field here using what you guys already learned from the first part. And all we have to do here guys is very simple. Go to our camera option and click the depth of field here. And what you also want to do is you want to make sure you go down to your Element 3D too. Okay, so let's go down to our Element 3D scene here, and let's also make sure that our depth of field here is working properly. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna set it to focus indicator. All right, when you have a focus indicator, it's so much easier in Element 3D to decide where the blur is. Anything that is red is being focused, and anything that is not red is totally out of focus. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure our pond is in focus. So the first thing we're going to do is this. Remember, this is what you have to use here, and this also is the zoom here. Okay, so let's just decide where we want our focus to be, and we want our focus to be right on the board. So anything that is red, remember, is in focus. So we know this is in focus, but when we take it to 2 seconds, it's totally gonna change. Why is it changing? Because the camera is moving. Okay, but having the master shot first really empowers you to see where everything is. Okay, so if we take it to our 2 seconds here, we can see that the red is way over there. So how do we fix this? Very easy. Go to your 2 view and click here, and make sure you go to your top view. Zoom out, and then remember this right here. It's pretty much this right here, the focus distance. Okay, so you want to take it down to your board, and as you take it down to your board, you can also see that the red marks here is getting close to the board, just like this. Okay, so to make sure that it's working, what do we do then? Go to your camera and go back to your depth of field and make sure you click pixel blur, and it should work very quickly. Or you know, it might take a little bit to work, because if your computer hasn't put in the cache yet for what it's doing right now, it has to calculate that cache. So I'm gonna go back to one view really quick, and I just want to see what it looks like. Does it look good? Not really. So how do we fix this again? Easy. So we go back to our camera and simply play with the aperture. Okay. So as you guys can see, the aperture gives you a different look. I do want my pawn to be sharp, and I want the rest that was not in the red frame to be out of focus. So this looks pretty good here, but it's really up to you guys. So maybe you might want to do 24 pixels instead. So the higher you go, the more out of focus anything else will be. Okay, so now that we know how this works, one thing you guys have to remember though, every time you have motion, you have to manually set keyframes for your focus distance and your aperture. Okay, because we're gonna set it right now for this, and then once we get to the middle, watch what happens. It will not be there anymore. Okay, and so that's why it's so important to make sure that you set things properly. And again, the best way to do this is to go to 2 views and make sure that you remember this right here. Every time you change the focus distance, this little square rectangle here moves up and down. Okay, and if it's still really hard to see what you're doing, just go to Element 3D and make sure it's on the focus indicator. All right, once it's in the focus indicator, we'll see exactly what we're doing. So now all we have to do is move forward. Okay, once it's there, then you simply go back and you do pixel blur, and then you have to decide how much aperture you want on that. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. So remember, you can put a lot or you can put just a tiny bit. It's really up to you guys. Okay, and so you guys have to do this for all the motions that you are creating, especially if you're doing depth of field, so that everywhere you go, the depth of field is as what you want per each keyframe. Okay, and so guys, this takes care of the depth of field in After Effects using the cameras in a real 3D world with the real 3D objects. Alright guys, hopefully this tutorial was super helpful for you guys in finally understanding the cameras in After Effects, whether you are in a 2D environment or you are in a 3D environment with real life 3D objects. Okay, that being said, super easy, right? Once you get it, you totally get it, guys, and then you don't need to worry anymore about the cameras. All right, I want to be able to do this full time too, so if you guys want that also to happen, please help me out. $1 a month helps a lot. There's a link to my Patreon channel. Please become a patron and help me make that a reality. Also, I'm going to start to do things in real life now, and so I'm going to shift away a little bit from the 3D world and do some visual effects with shooting some very cool scene. Okay, and so that's my new direction now, and hopefully if there's something you guys want to see, let me know too, and I'll try to recreate it for you guys. All right, that being said, guys, my name is Lobo. The channel is called ZooPF Visual Effects, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.